In this video, we'll discuss the outlook for the stock market, identify the key levels, break down the prevailing sentiment among market participants, look behind the scenes using the gamma exposure profile, and I'll share something interesting with you. But first, as usual, let's go over how tracking market maker activity allows you to build trading strategies and what kind of results this leads to. And since practice is always much more illustrative than any theory, let's look at a specific example. First, a quick word on the overall market situation. In my previous video, I introduced you to the VIX divided by the 1-month implied correlation index. The idea is that local peaks were usually followed by minor pullbacks lasting a few days, while more extreme spikes ultimately led to much more significant sell-offs. So at that point, the divergence was indeed quite significant. The last time we saw something like this was in July 2024 during the famous carry trade unwind. On this chart, that correction looks quite minor, but back then it amounted to about 10%. If we translate that into today's terms, that would be a drop in the index to the 6,700 to 6,800 range. It was a solid signal that a correction was coming, and because of that, in my last video, I told you I was opening a put butterfly on the SPX with a July 17th expiration. Given the combination of these factors, I am now opening a put butterfly on the SPX centered at the 7,400 strike with expiration next Friday. This strategy is very inexpensive, and if the market declines, it will immediately start generating profit. The position was very inexpensive, and in terms of risk to reward, it was an excellent opportunity. But in previous videos, we also discussed the formation of a wedge, and by classic analysis, whichever direction the price breaks out of this wedge, momentum is expected to continue in that direction. However, in this situation, it would have been wrong to bet on a breakout to the upside, and there were several reasons for that. The first signal was the news of an escalation between the US and Iran. Yes, traders have already gotten used to such news and no longer see it as a threat to the market, so at the beginning of last week there was no panic. But still, this is not the kind of backdrop that favors growth. But the main reason is that the assault on the resistance line has already dragged on, and a breakout to the upside does not fit the timing. The thing is, historically July is considered a bullish month. But after July comes August, and after August comes September. The point is that September and March have always been considered the weakest periods for the markets. All crises, recessions, and bank failures have always occurred during these times, but September leads the pack. In September, the fiscal year ends and fund managers rebalance their portfolios. But most importantly, banks close out their balance sheets and reports, and sometimes skeletons are found in the closet. Yes, the last few years have been fairly smooth, but you have to keep in mind that by August many traders start gradually preparing for this and begin trimming excess positions. I said this to make the point that if a breakout from this wedge were truly destined to happen to the upside, it would have made much more sense to see it happen at the very beginning of July. That would have given the market an entire month for steady upward progress. But a breakout at the end of the month looks far less convincing, especially with August and September ahead, which statistically have never been considered classic bullish periods. In short, from a technical standpoint, last week a market rally was not the priority scenario. And speaking of local levels, the weekly probability distribution curve identified the nearest 1 sigma resistance at the 76.25 and the 1 sigma support at the 74.70, which coincided with the 20-day and 50-day moving averages. But if on Monday, July 13th, you had opened the Quant Power app, the link to which is in the description below this video, pulled up the weekly gamma exposure profile on SPY, and selected the expiration dates from Monday through Friday inclusive, the situation would have become much clearer. The two main resistance levels are at the 757 and 760 strikes. Above 760, there's a sharp decline in both positive and absolute gamma. This indicated that last week there was no reason for the price to rise above 760, and this area, despite being in bullish territory, should be viewed as a resistance zone. The largest and nearest negative and absolute gamma values form support at the 750 strike. And although the gamma flip zone is considered the separator between bullish and bearish territory, last week the final transition into bearish territory would only have begun if the price moved below 750. If we leave only Friday's expiration date, we see that the gamma flip zone shifts exactly to the 750 strike, leaving the two most important levels. These are 760, which is the main resistance, and 750, which is support. On the chart, all these levels will look like this. The two main resistance levels are located at the 757 and 760 strikes. The area around the gamma flip zone is the decision-making zone where bulls and bears will battle for dominance. The nearest support is at the 750 strike, and below it bearish territory begins, which is highlighted in red. We also see that the second resistance level coincides with the 1 sigma resistance level on the S&P, and the 1 sigma support level together with the 20-day and 50-day moving averages coincides with the 745 strike. So to summarize, the gamma exposure profile gave us a very clear answer to several questions at once. Due to the proximity of the resistance levels, last week did not look bullish. What I mean is that the resistance levels should have been viewed as exactly that, resistance levels, rather than as upside targets for opening long positions, because that would have simply been mathematically unjustified. The nearest important support was at the 750 strike, and if the price moved below this level, it would enter bearish territory, with the decline continuing to the first target of 745, and then to the 740, which was the final weekly support. Given the combination of these factors, last week we could have structured our strategies to profit from a market decline if the first support level was broken, while also generating a profit if the price continued to trade within this range. For example, you could have used a combination consisting of a calendar put spread and an iron butterfly. This structure was inexpensive, and thanks to it, we were protected all the way up to the 7600 level. But if the price started to decline, we would have immediately seen good profit. As an alternative, you could have opened a diagonal put spread hedged with an iron condor. The position was opened at a ratio of 2 or 3 iron condors for every 1 lot of the diagonal spread. The right wing of the iron condor was set at the 7620 strike, which corresponded to the second resistance level. Altogether, this combination looked like this. So if the market declined, we would have generated good profit from the diagonal put spread. At the same time, we would have also made money if the price continued to trade in the range from the first support level to the second resistance level. Yes, in that case the profit would have been smaller than in a market decline, but let me remind you that the primary function of a hedge is not to make a lot of money on absolutely any market move, but rather to protect yourself in case the main plan move does not materialize. I like this combination, so I decided to open it in addition to the put butterfly I mentioned in the previous video. From Monday through Thursday, the market traded within this range. But on Friday, the market opened with a drop near the second support level, and 20 minutes after the market opened, these positions showed the following results. The put butterfly generated about 300% profit. The diagonal put spread was also performing very well, while the iron condor was showing a loss, but in dollar terms those losses were more than offset by the profit from the diagonal put spread. So last week closed with a profit, and if you want to see in advance what's happening behind the scenes of the market and make timely, well-informed trading decisions, the link to the app with all the information you need for trading is in the description below this video. This week, the index once again bounced off the lower boundary of the wedge, which coincides with the 20-day and 50-day moving averages. Right now, this area is the main support from a technical analysis perspective. As a catalyst for continued growth, corporate earnings reports could serve. I would remind you that the Magnificent Seven will be reporting in the last 2 weeks of July, and if the data does not disappoint, this could be a reason for the uptrend to continue. But so far, everything suggests that any upside will be limited by the nearest resistance levels, namely the all-time highs and the psychological 7,700 mark. On the other hand, after these reports, August and September will arrive, and we already discussed today that statistically these are fairly weak months. So to sum it up, there's a slight contradiction in the signals. On one hand, strong support levels and corporate earnings reports could lead to the bulls putting up a fight over the next couple of weeks. But the overall backdrop, combined with historical statistics, favors a weaker market over the next couple of months, which on top of that would fit the logic of a correction ahead of the midterm elections. From a gamma exposure profile perspective, the price is currently near the nearest resistance level at 750. The main weekly resistance level is at the 755 strike. The largest negative and absolute gamma values form support at the 740 strike, and in the event of a break below this level, the downward move could continue to the 730 to 728 level. We're also seeing a lot of absolute gamma between the 740 and 755 strikes. This indicates that the price will tend to stay within this range. However, immediately below the gamma flip zone lies a significant layer of negative gamma, which creates additional pressure. So this week, any attempts to rally will likely be limited by the resistance levels above. In this situation, betting that the price would stay within this range for some time, you could have opened an iron condor at the start of the week with a profit target of 25 to 50%. Right now, the price is near the resistance level, and that's a good spot to open a put butterfly expiring this Friday or next. This position will be very inexpensive, and in such a situation it would be justified. Also, don't forget to keep an eye on the 740 level, because it carries high significance this week and next, and in the event of a break below it, the downward move will continue. That's all for today. Good luck with your trading and see you next time.